bizarre places where you will find people living. The hottest place on Earth. There is a place in Ethiopia named Danakil Depression, which is said to be the hottest place on the planet. The temperatures over there range between 93 degrees to 125 degrees Fahrenheit, and surprisingly people do live there. Also known as the Gateway to Hell, the place features a lava lake in the Erde'al volcano is one of only 4 living lava lakes in the world. Apparently, the depression was formed by 3 tectonic plates that threw up some volcanoes and other stuff like boiling chemical lakes, hot springs, salt flats, and many more. The residents who live there are called Afar people, and God knows how they manage to survive in the hottest place on Earth. Amazingly, the people have adapted to the climate and rely on the few flora that grow under such harsh climates. Reportedly, the rivers that flow into Danakil evaporate, which means the water source is limited. As a result, Afar people are accustomed to having less food and water than other humans. The coldest place on Earth. The polar opposite of the hottest place is the coldest place on Earth, whose lowest recorded temperature is -71 degrees Celsius. If someone wants to know how it looks when hell freezes over, they should visit Oymyakon, Russia, a few kilometers away from Yakutsk. Oymyakon ironically means unfrozen water, and has an average temperature of -51 degrees Celsius. When someone asked how people survive in such a cold climate, one said they drink Ruski chai, tea, which for Russians is another word for vodka. When it comes to food, with such low temperatures, it is difficult to grow any vegetables and thus the only option is raw fish and meat. Vegetarians and non-alcoholics might have difficulty surviving in this city, and unexpectedly, the residents have adapted to the cold and live like regular humans. Interestingly, if Russians want to go to the bathroom, they have to run outside because the water pipes get frozen, making indoor plumbing impossible. The residents who own automobiles have to keep their engines running, otherwise the mechanics could freeze up. Sótano de las Bodegas. The idiom living under the rock has literally come true for the approximately 3,000 residents who live in this Spanish city. All the houses in Sótano de las Bodegas are painted white in color, and also the people over there have built only the facades of their houses, leaving the rest the same, with mountainous rocks acting as walls for the abode. It is believed that people are living in the area, located along a narrow river gorge eroded by the Rio Trejo River, since prehistoric times. The rocks provide natural shade during the hot summer and also beats the cold during the winter season. When it comes to the etymology of the village name, it translates into 7 times no, and there is an interesting reason behind it. There was a time when the Catholic rulers tried 7 times to take back this territory from the Moors, however, they failed. Bodegas mean warehouse in Spanish, as the area under the rock was used to store local produce because of its cool temperature. It was the 7th time the Catholic rulers succeeded in taking back the territory from the medieval Arabian inhabitants. Today the village has become a tourist hotspot, and attractions include the Fortress of the Nasrids, St. Sebastian Church, an old Moorish mosque, and many more. Tunnels of Bucharest. It is horrifying to see that there are people who are living in the tunnels of the sewer system in the capital of Romania. While residents walk on a street above, which is filled with cars, restaurants, houses, and more, there is a community that lives underground for shelter, as they have no other option. One can only imagine the situation that not only adults but also children have to go through. The residents live in filth where there is no water, no proper beds, and limited space to move or stretch. It was in 1989 when people first started living in the sewers after the orphans were thrown on the street without any money, no belongings, and nowhere to go. Some of them decided to live under the street where there were heated steam pipes to keep them warm, and since then Romanian residents have been living there. Although most of the people living above them have no sympathy, there is a charity organization that helps them in terms of food and clothing. The social enterprise also has a doctor to look after these underground people and provide medical assistance. Reportedly, there is a guy named Bruce Lee who is like their boss, and the man has been saving for years, to build a new and nicer community outside the sewers and in a beautiful city. Cliff Village. The residents of China have been living in a remote village built on the 800-meter cliff top in Sichuan province. Achilair, a 200-year-old village, came into the news when photos of children climbing down the village through unsteady ladders made rounds on social media. People have to travel 2 hours through these sky ladders to enter the outside world, along with school bags or farm produce to sell them at the nearest market, which is miles away. Fortunately, after people came to know the tough life of these villagers, they demanded the government to change the wooden ladders into metal ones, which is safer and has apparently reduced the traveling time. However, the 200-year-old city has also become a tourist attraction, and reportedly, in 2019, 100,000 visitors generated nearly 1 million yuan, $140,878, for the village. As the concern grew for these people, a campaign was started and 84 households were relocated to newly built apartments. One of the residents told in an interview, "My children won't need to climb up and down the cliff for education anymore. My wife is pregnant with our third child, and moving here makes it very convenient for us to go to the hospital for examination." The remaining villagers will also be moved into new houses, and the site will be further developed to attract more tourists and boost income.